been 10 years since the establishment of the National School of Government. The school aims to empower public servants with the much-needed skills. Now, over the years, young graduates, public service interns, and some of the executives have been trained under the various programs. Joining us now is the Deputy Director General at the National School of Government, Dr. Botshabelo Maja. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Maja, and congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. Let's start with the work that the institution does. How do you go about training these public servants, and what do you train them in?
Thank you very much, Clement, for inviting us. We are responsible for building the capacity of the state. So we train these public servants in the core work of working for government. They need to know how to manage finance. They need to know how to manage people. They need to know how to become ethical, how to conduct government business ethically. But we also train them on the challenges of the new world. You know, there are many people who are saying we're moving now into this fourth industrial revolution. There is talk of robots, artificial intelligence. We are entering that space. We are training them on cybersecurity. We're training them how to be innovative, how to execute with diligence. So we cover the entire scope that makes a state capable, and we hope that the South African public sector over the years will be that capable to assist our country to grow.
Is it compulsory for public servants to attend the school, and how many are taking up the opportunity?
In some programs, it is compulsory. For example, induction. So when you join the public sector, it is compulsory for you to come to the National School of Government to be inducted. Even before you join the public sector, for senior management at the moment, over the coming years, we'll be expanding it across the public sector. It is compulsory for you to complete a pre-entry exam that we call Nugela under the National School of Government. Over the last 10 years, we've been able to train more than 528,000 public sector employees, and these include national employees, that's national government, provincial government, municipal officials, and also those who work in state-owned entities, including members of the executives and members of parliament. Okay.
This is a school, an institution that's meant to, as you say, improve the skills, the understanding and capabilities of these public servants. How much of that do you think you've been able to achieve in the last 10 years?
We've been able to achieve a lot, Clement, but a lot still has to be done. I mean, as I just told you, over the last 10 years, we've been able to cover over 500,000 public servants. Now, this is out of a total of 1.4. So round figures, if we use round figures, we still have about 1 million to go. But those 500,000 public servants who've come through our doors are able to go back to their institutions and make a difference. We are seeing that difference in a number of government departments that are beginning to improve in terms of serving our people better. But it is incremental, and there is still a long way to go.
Would you say that there's proper state capacity today?
No, definitely not. I would be lying to you if I said so, because you see, Clement, if there was better state capacity today, our economy would be growing much faster. We would be creating more jobs than we currently are creating them. We would probably not even be talking about load shedding. So for as long as we continue to talk about these kinds of problems, it means that we still have a lot of work to do to build state capacity. And that is why the work of the National School of Government is critical in terms of building that work going forward.
Yeah, and the Public Service and Administration Minister, in fact, recently revealed in a response to parliamentary questions that in terms of personal records, there were over 1,800 senior managers who had no qualifications for the positions they occupied as of March this year, and that, of course, also affects that state capacity. Let's discuss the implementation of the national framework towards the professionalization of the public service that was approved by Cabinet about a year ago. I mean, we need a dynamic system of professionalism in the public service, whether you talk recruitment, career management, or consequence management. How is that framework going to assist, and what's your role in its implementation as the school?
So as a National School of Government, we were responsible in crafting that framework together with the Public Service Commission and the Department of Public Service and Administration under the Minister for Public Service and Administration. Now, as you say correctly, Cabinet approved it in October last year. We, as the National School of Government, are now supporting various government departments to implement, because you see, the key thing about that framework is that the implementation of the framework is not the responsibility of the National School of Government alone. The framework is clear that all government departments, whether it be national, provincial, and or municipal level, whether it be state-owned entities, have a role and responsibility to implement those parts of the framework that are applicable to them. If I may give you an example, one of the recommendations in the framework is that we need to encourage public servants to belong to professional bodies. This is part of the issue of consequence management that we are introducing. You will be aware, for example, that since democracy, consequence management has been a two-horse race in South Africa. So it's the employer and the employee who are responsible for consequence management. If both or one of them fail, that's the end of the story. With the framework, we are now introducing a third player, which is the professional body, because if your employment contract requires of you to belong to a professional body and you belong to one, but at some point you misbehave and the professional body withdraws your membership, that will now have implications for your employment contract going forward. Now, implementing that will have to be the responsibility of each and every state entity, whether national or provincial, to make sure that that happens. So we are supporting various government departments in connecting with relevant professional bodies, entering into agreements with relevant professional bodies. And then, of course, as the National School of Government, there are many areas where we need to intervene, to capacitate, to educate, to train those that now belong to these professional bodies, and we'll be doing that going forward.
And how is this framework going to help deal with, I suppose, the patronage system? Because you want to depoliticize the public service by delinking appointments in government where the professional skills and the know-how are needed from the political whims and preferences of political principals. What does that say then about cadre deployment? How does this framework solve that challenge?
Well, the framework is very clear, and we've learned this from some of the best developed countries in the world. One of the key things that the framework introduces is what we call a merit-based system. With that merit-based system, it means that from recruitment to induction to onboarding to promotion to management of career incidents, all of that will have to be merit-based, which means qualifications, experience, knowledge, all of that become critical in appointments, in promotions, in managing career incidents going forward. And we are hoping that with this merit-based system, we will be able to professionalize, and that's why the title of the framework is Professionalization, because we're very keen to professionalize the public sector by making sure that all those elements are built into recruitment, selection, and promotion.
Many have decried the lack of ethics in the public service, and I know, ethics in the public service course was made compulsory for all public servants and has been promoted quite extensively online as one of the school's flagship programs. Has that been working?
Look, Clement, this question, every time I answer it, I really have to always start from the beginning, because sometimes we forget where we should all start. The issue of ethics is a South African problem, and we must address it first and foremost as South Africans. Our children at home, when they are 5 years old, when they are 10 years old, we as parents need to teach them wrong from right. We need to teach them the difference between doing right and doing wrong. So that's part one. We come as a National School of Government when people are adults and we are doing top-up. And yes, we've introduced this program because we have a problem and we are trying to address it. That program, the Ethics Online program, has been doing well. Since we introduced it now, we've had 750,000 public servants that have successfully gone through that program, 82% of whom have completed it.
Yeah.
But we still have about 1.3 million public servants that must conclude that course. And it is compulsory, as the minister announced it, for all public servants to do that.
Dr. Botshabelo, Maja, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.